Colin is an extraordinary talented artist who toured Great Britain and Europe before he came to America. He eventually settled in Glasgow, Kentucky, and I'm telling you, he writes and he sings and he records, and I'm not going to take any more of his time. Colin Grant Adams.
Oh, come by the hills to the land where fancy is free, and you stand where the peaks reach the sky and the lochs meet the sea, where the rivers run clear and the bracken is gold in the sun, and the cares of tomorrow must wait till this day is done. So come by the hills to the land where life is a song, where the birds fill the air with their joy all day long, where the trees sway in tune and even the wind sings in tune, and the cares of tomorrow must wait till this day is done. So come by the hills to the land where legends remain, where the glories of old stir the heart and they yearn for again, where the past has been lost and the future is still to be won, and the cares of tomorrow must wait till this day is done. Yes, the cares of tomorrow must wait till this day is done. Woo! Thank you. Good evening. Hello, everybody. Couldn't hear you. Hello. Oh, good. They told me I'd be singing in the courthouse again. I thought, what have I done wrong this time, you know? Oh, the jury up here, like, you know, they come up here with the little numbers in the mid, like, you know. Well, it's good to be back here in the courthouse in Blairsville at this Scottish Games once again. It doesn't seem like a year ago we was here. I haven't aged a bit, have I? I know. It's all that whiskey, like, you know, pickles you. It's not true. Well, you know, one of the first games that bought that last song, I thought I'd sing that because being up here in the hills, it kind of felt like that was the right song to start off the evening with all the mountains and the hills here. And cares of tomorrow must wait till this day is done. I remember when I was back home in Scotland, I was going over to a little island called Islay to sing. Bad place for a Scotsman to go. They got 10 distilleries on one little island. Great place to play at New Year, all 2 weeks. But I went into a local store there and I said, could I have a newspaper? Oh, she says, would you like today's paper? I said, aye. She said, can you come back tomorrow? Because the paper always came in on the late planes, so they didn't have time to distribute it to the next day. So it was always old news over there. What happened has happened yesterday, like, you know. But one of the first places I came was up into the Smoky Mountains. I was working in Oban on the west coast of Scotland. And I was singing Johnny Cash or Merle Haggard when these folks walked in and said, come and have a drink with me. I said, don't ask me twice. So I sat down. They said, we're from Gatlinburg in the Smoky Mountains. I said, where's that? They said, Tennessee. I said, oh, not very far from Nashville. Well, my eyes lit up then, Nashville. They said, we're going to start a Scottish Games over there. Would you like to come and sing? I said, yes. I was only 2 years old at the time, So I came over, and I think it was like the second or third year. One of the clan chiefs actually going to be here this weekend, a friend of mine of the Andersons, Hope Vera Anderson, and his mother came for a walk up in the mountains. We always went up in the mountains to have a walk before the games. I think they were trying to lose me, But I always found my way back, But anyways, was walking around and noticed a lot of Scots that settled in the mountains and the history there of the Scots and Irish. And the mountainsides was alive with the rhododendron bushes. And I thought, well, these Scots and Irish must have thought they'd got home because the west coast of Scotland is also covered with the rhododendron bushes. So I sat down and I wrote a wee song about it. And I sang it that night, but I had to have the words with me. And when I finished, the gentleman that brought me over come up and said, you better come up the back, there's a big line of people want that song. I said, I only wrote it, I haven't recorded it yet, So this one's called Where the Rhododendrons Grow. It goes like this. Many years ago, the Scots, they sailed across the sea. They came into the new land, some went to Tennessee. Where the rhododendrons grow, where the rhododendrons grow. They settled in the mountains where the rhododendrons grow. I walked along the Greenbrier Trail where they settled years before, and I've seen the tall pines where the pretty flowers grow. Where the rhododendrons grow, where the rhododendrons grow. They settled in the mountains where the rhododendrons grow. Must have been hard times living in the hills, but the Scots are hardy folk, the men with iron will. Where the rhododendrons grow, where the rhododendrons grow. They settled in the mountains where the rhododendrons grow. We gather here today, my friends, to celebrate Highland Games, and to our ancestors who to the mountains came. Where the rhododendrons grow, where the rhododendrons grow. They settled in the mountains where the rhododendrons grow. Many years ago, the Scots, they sailed across the sea. They came into the new land, some went to Tennessee. Where the rhododendrons grow, where the rhododendrons grow. They settled in the mountains where the rhododendrons grow. Where the rhododendrons grow. Well, my hometown is a little place called Oban on the west coast of Scotland. And Oban is a little seaport town. It sits, they call it the gateway to the Isles. If you go to Scotland and you want to go to a lot of the Western Highlands, the Hebrides, you have to come through Oban first. So we take your money first. I wrote a little song about it, and I was over on the West Coast working a few months ago, and a friend of mine who I used to work with quite a bit over in Scotland now lives over there, and he works with a duo over there. And he said, Colin, because that's my name, When I first came here, the big introduction I got was all the way from Scotland, Oban, Scotland, we have Colin. I looked around and said, who's the body part around here? But you know, I'll tell you this. When I first got to Gatlinburg, I'd never really been in a big high-rise hotel, like, you know, we were still living on the low floor over in Scotland, like, you know. And they put me in this big hotel, 12 stories high. And they said, we're set, because they didn't want me to drive. They didn't trust me driving. They told me I'd drive on the wrong side of the road. So they said there's 7 to pick me up. So I'm waiting there, and I'm all dressed, you know, and the phone goes. A little girl at the desk says, Colin. I said, it's Colin. Oh, Colin, there's somebody here to pick you up. I said, I'll be right down. So I went and got in the elevator, and I went down. And I walked up to the desk, the little girl. I said, my name's Colin. Oh, thanks, Colin. That gentleman there is going to pick you up. And I turned around as a state trooper. 300 pounds, bristling with guns. So I walked up to him and I said, you're supposed to be picking me up? He said, yeah, get in the car. Yeah. And I got in the car and he was cheating in there too, because he had guns up there too in the racks, you know. But they were on his side, they weren't on my side, like, you know, it's not very fair. I never seen a gun before, like, you know, there's all these guns. So anyway, he took me out to the games, and I got out of the car and everybody's looking at me. They're going, what jail did they break him out of last night, like, you know. So I'm walking around about 10, 15 minutes, I thought something was not quite right. My wife says I'm not quite right anyways, but that's another story. I suddenly realized I hadn't got my wee knife that we carry here in the hose, the wee ski and do. And without it, you don't feel comfortable. So I went back and I said, I need to go back to the hotel. Guess who they got? 300 pounds, bristling with guns. Get in the car. Yeah. So I got in the car and went back to the hotel, 12th floor. Got my wee ski and do, got in the elevator. Me and one other gentleman, big bushy beard, bib overalls. And we stood there like this, just him and me. And we got to about the 8th floor and he went, I thought, uh-huh. Then he stepped back, so I went, heard about you Tennessee boys. And we got to about the 5th floor and he looked at me and says, are you a Scotsman? I said, dressed like this, I hope I am, like, you know. And without a word of a lie, he looked around that elevator and he went, try this. And he came out with a little ceramic jug. My first taste of moonshine. Never been the same since. Open my Highland home. It's a song that I wrote about my hometown. As I was telling you, I was talking to my friend and he said he was driving through Oban, had the radio on. He said, and your song came on. It's being played in Oban. I said, that kind of makes you feel good, like, you know. They ain't playing it anywhere else, but they're playing it in Oban. Now, Oban is a great little town, and in the middle 40s, this gentleman built a little tower that's supposed to be like a coliseum up on top of the hill. Has anybody been to Oban here? I'm talking right, there's a little tower, and they call it McKay's Folly, but we call it a tower, we don't call it a folly. He built it as a memento to his wife, but he also helped to get some people work, because there was no work at the time, so he built this thing up on the hill. It's like a coliseum. It's called McKay's Tower. I'll explain that because it says it in the song, and you might be thinking, they're going, what's he singing about? Probably doing that anyways, eh? Let me tell you of a town that I call my home. In the Western Highlands, gateway to the Isles, I've traveled a many a mile as round this world I roam. One place stole my heart away after all these miles, was Oban, my Highland home. Yes, Oban, my Highland home. Standing by the harbor, looking out to sea, a ferry it goes sailing by for some Hebridean isle. McKay's tower from on high, looking down on me. Clouds, they go drifting by, so I can dream a while of Oban, my Highland home. Yes, Oban, my Highland home. I love to watch the fishing boats sailing back for home. Seagulls flying overhead circle round and round. Boats they're laden with the catch that they are bringing back. Hardy men from the sea, back from their hunting ground, to Oban, my Highland home. Yes, Oban, my Highland home. Oban, my Highland home. Well, we're having fun here in the courthouse tonight. It's your turn to sing. I saw the enthusiasm rippling through the... He wants us to work as well. Well, yes. This is a song about two young soldiers fighting for Bonnie Prince Charlie, who was trying to get Scotland back for his father at first. Actually, he wanted the whole of Great Britain because he felt he was his father and he was the kings and stewards of the whole of the land, not just Scotland. And they almost got it if the majors and colonels who were in charge didn't want to go home. They probably would have got to London and taken over. It would have been a different world nowadays, you know. But they didn't. They turned and went home. And two of the soldiers were captured. And they were taken to Carlisle, just across the border. One was to be set free, and one was to be hung. And they say in Scottish folklore, your spirit takes the low road home before it's set free. Hence this song, you take the high road, and I'll take the low road. And the second song's a song I've kind of added into this, because I think it fits into how when the Scots and the Irish came to these mountains first and brought their music, and it got into old time and bluegrass music, it kind of goes well together. This moonshine's good. Thanks, Bob. Did you enjoy Mr. Valentine there? He does a good job, doesn't he, eh? Yeah. By yon bonny banks, by yon bonny brae, where the sun shines so bright on Loch Lomond, where me and my true love will never walk again, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Chorus! So you take the high road and I'll take the low road. I'll be in Scotland before ye, but me, my true love, will never meet again, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Let's try it now. So you take the high road and I'll be in Scotland before ye, but me and my will never on the there that we parted in yon shady glen, on the steep, steep sides of Ben Lomond, where in purple hue the Highland hills we view, and the moon is coming out in the gloaming. So you take the high road and I'll take the low road. I'll be in Scotland before you, but me and my will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. And the wee birdie sings, the wildflowers spring, and in silence the waters are sleeping. But the broken heart, it can a second spring, and the wifey she will cease frae her greeting. Just try it now. So you take the high, the bonny, bonny. Well, one fine morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to my home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, Lord, I fly away. When the freedom of life is over, I fly away. Like a bird that is free from the prison, I fly away, I said. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, Lord, I'll fly away. I'll be glad and happy when we meet. I'll fly away. No more iron shackles on my feet. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, Lord, I'll fly away from the bonny, bonny banks. Yes, the bonny, bonny banks. So you take the high road and I'll take the low road. I'll be in Scotland before ye, but me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Thank you so much.